So here's my Go-Gurt list. So of course play 4 Gurgit, 1 Percival, 4 Sagamore, 3 Mock Slash, 4 Agravale, 2 Parrymore, 4 Wonder, 4 Josephus, 4 the Great Gormaduke, 3 Dendrain, 1 the starter. Oh, I'm glad I didn't top. I have 4 normal heals. What I was supposed to have 2 heals. I had 2 crit though. I actually cheated by accident. I don't think I used. Yeah, I used the heal guard, but that wasn't in the list. It doesn't matter. I didn't top. But yeah, this was not supposed to be 4 vanilla heals. It was supposed to be 2 heal guards and 2 vanilla heals. But it doesn't matter. I lost with Gurgit anyway. Sketch. I know. I didn't look at the list. All right, but it doesn't matter. I didn't top. So let me go over my rounds real quick because the Gurgit one is pretty. I mean, it's not as pathetic as the Anj one, but it's still pretty bad. So round 1, fought Revengers. So I just naturally open Percival like a god. He goes to his raging turn and he pushes me to 5 damage. So I'm like, well, I got like 2 turns maybe to live because my hand was like really bad. Then when I attacked him, I stopped him at 3 damage because I didn't want him to get the extra attack from like the double Vanguard restand, which he did do. And then on my Gurgit turn, I forgot to use Wonder because I was on pressure and I haven't really played this deck. I only like seen what it does and hand tested it, but I never actually played this deck. So I was learning the deck as going through the tournament. So I forgot to use Wonder from Gurgit's call. And then I ended up taking 2 crit from his Vanguard swing. So I ended up dying in that. So the next 2 rounds, these are funny, right? So I go against Anj. Well, in the last match, I went second. Sorry, I go against Anj's match. I can actually bring up the list. This was his list, the raging player. So yeah, he had the standard stuff. He had 1 leader fall, which I think he used once, but yeah. Yeah, this was his list. Not the next player. Now this is the next opponent. So this was the Anj list. So they was playing the Soul variant. They had 2 draws as well. I went second. No, I went first. So what happened was I remember him, he had a good grade 2 turn. He had like Saria, Aqua, and like 2 columns. Like 1 was with Ellie, 1 was Senna. So I was getting pressured very early on. So I think I got pushed to 4 or 3 because I had a heal guard or something. Then as I go to my grade 3 turn, I top deck Percival like a god again. I pushed him to 4. Yeah, I pushed him to 4. Zeku and his wife with the sun. Hey, listen. I didn't want to fight Anj, alright? Like, this is the one deck I did not want to fight in BRO. And then I ended up fighting, like, a couple. So, I pushed him to 4. He guarded it. And the next turn, I rolled Gurgit again and just killed him. His hand was not... Like, I think he kind of bricked a little bit. Because... he was, like, mass soul charging stuff. And there was a... Like, he could have psyched me out because he caught Nikita, like, behind Anj. He had 23k booster, right? And I thought, okay, he's gonna, like, swing with his rear guard. He's gonna leave Nikita in the back row so he can demand, a PG. So I guarded his rear guard call, but he bounces Anj back. So I'm like, I mean, he bounces Nikita back. I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. He called Lieselot. Guys, stop calling Lieselot. Don't call Lieselot. In this deck, I guess you could... That's what you play Finesse for, or any other card but Lieselot. Because he called it on the force marker, that was stacked, double stacked, by the way. I think he caught a crit. No, he caught a draw. And then proceeded to do nothing after that. Liesel is not a good call from Anj, unless it's like your opponent's at 5th damage, you have no Tirua, and you don't have any like good attackers, and you have like 2 force markers on each side. So, but yeah, I won that one because I killed it with Gurgit. You know, I just Gurgited him. Now the next round, I fought against another bloody Anj. I think this one I have Relenka. No, this is just a normal variant. So this game was a little scary. This is where I was like, yeah, I don't want to fight no more Anjas after this. So I went second. So what his misplay was that he called Senna to the front row, which it made sense. He wanted to rush me down because he probably wouldn't have lived a long, like he probably wouldn't have lived anyway. So he called Senna to the front row, and me knowing the matchup, I'm like, well, I rolled Wonder, and I just swung into it to the Senna. He let it go, and here's the weird thing. I knew he had a heal guard, so I'm like, okay, so I want you to commit the 15k shield, so you get the damage, so you can do your stuff, right? But he just didn't. He just rolled Anj. I think he just called, like, Sario's already on a board, I think. And I think he called, like, Ellie? And then, like, I no guarded the Vanguard, just guarded the Sario column. So after that, should have had 9 rounds versus Anj. Oh, no. Not with Gurgit, no. I didn't even get to the scary part of this round yet. So, since I was like at low damage, I only had like I had 1 damage. So, I used Gormaduke to search, just to dig for a grade 3. I got Percival. I'm like, well, I can't use Percival and Gurgit in the same turn because I didn't have Dindrain. So, I got Percival. I just waited till next turn. Wait, is that? Yeah, this one. So I waited till next turn to use Percival. So I kind of just pushed him to 4, and then he rewrote Anj, and then he did his plays because he has CB and stuff, and then he got Tidua, which was like 53k, and I'm here like, I don't even think I could guard this if he gets a crit. Then he just wins because I only had 1 PG. Yeah, I only had 1 PG, and I just had to like pray for the last hit not to be a crit. He didn't get a crit. I survived his turn. And then, you know, it's Gurgin time. Roll Gurgit, did Percival, killed him. Like the first match I had with the Anj player, I felt the like salt in his voice. I was just playing it just so I could get Gurgit banned. I mean, not Gurgit, Percival banned, but it seems like Gurgit didn't do well this weekend. But yeah, pretty much, that's how I beat the second Anj player. Now I'm like, oh yeah, if Anj rerides and gets in her force marker, that restander is like threatening. Because it's swinging twice for 52k. So, did I even do the round 5 opponent? Ah, yes, Grand Blue. I didn't write it down, but I know I went second against this Grand Blue player. Let's just say they hit 2 crit, right? Like Orange says, Grand Blue only wins if the opponent hits 2 crits. They hit their crit on their first attack, and then the second attack was a crit. I healed the second one, but you know, he already pushed so much damage. Oh, they milled like half of their crits out, right? I asked how many crits are in deck, and there was like 6 on their first grade 3 turn. So I'm like, okay, so I'm pretty sure they're like, it's only half chance, and like 2 of their heroes are gone. I'm like, okay, so I no guard it, get crit on Rose. I'm like, well, I tried. Grand Blue's best deck when they hit crits. I survived like that turn, but that was my first grade 3 turn when I rode up. And then after that, it's like, well, they're gonna just double skull me. I mean, 4 attacks skull me, and they did. And like on their last 2 attacks, I had the hope for a heal, and I mean a PG or and a heal or a heal. So I lit that top 5, nothing. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna deck then and pray that I get a heal. Then get a heal, lost. So I dropped after that. But yeah, that's my Gurgi experience. So funny enough, when the meta is all Anj, I can win. But when I play in the meta deck, I lose to everything else. So that was my experience with Gurgit. Let me get my list. Which, I mean, I was featured on stream, so I think everyone should have my list. Which I did terribly, by the way. Alright, so we have my NA list. Hashtag best BT girl. So GV best clan. Haha, that's a you removed. I see what you did. You replaced the T with a G and flipped it. So for this list, I played 4 Berlinka, good pressure unit. I played 3 Tira, which I feel like that was a mistake since in my game 2 I had like 2 of her in hand. I'm gonna make her the 2 of. Everything else, oh, I'm not sure if Orange or anyone else talked about this on stream with Atari. So the reason why I played her in the deck, right? Narukami's a terrible matchup for this deck because it'll just bind your Relenka or bind your Tirua, and you don't have any other copies. So what I'll do is if I go first, or even if I go second, I will just do my normal turns, call Atari in the front row, right? So Vanquisher can't like bind the front row unit, and they'll have to swing into it, and then that's just them whiffing an attack. So if I'm going against that matchup, I will dig for Sisika with Saria or Aqua. Sisika will put back the Atari, and you keep looping it. Orange didn't mention it. Okay, so that also works against Chaos because I know that Chaos can absolutely destroy this deck because you have no front row, or you only have 1 front row, and they'll just remove your markers. Even though Anj keeps generating it, you have to keep rewriting every turn. And we don't have Spiana in this list. We only have Finessa. So this also says FU Chaos. So they'll have to attack into it. Yeah, that is Zirconium, but they're not locking this card. They'll have to attack into it. And then you Cisco it back, and then you loop it until they're dead. Until you're ready to kill them with like Berlenka or Tirua, and then you win. It's solely for that matchup. I regret not playing more Nikita. I only played 1 because I was taking the advice of Solemn that you can call her from Anj to draw a card and have a big beater. I was wrong. I wish I played more because Nikita is a really good card. I used her like once throughout the tourney. But yeah, I wish I played more of her. But while changing the list, definitely Negativa. To add like another Nikita. And maybe like I always add Atari to my list, but I've never seen them matchups, so I'm just gonna like add 1 Senna just to be more consistent. But anyway, let me see. Also, my first match. With Anj, I fought confirm the deck, please. That's not the list. I don't think I have his list, but I will say, let me go back to my list. I fought Gurgisan round 1, and I was like, oh god, I'm going against like one of the best Gurgit players already at round 1. But this game was really intense though. So I went first. I won the die roll. I opened the Grade 1 Pearl Sister. So I'm like, okay, I have a call on turn 3. So like I think the early game was like pretty average. He didn't really call a lot of cards, unless I don't think I remember him calling a lot of cards. Then on my turn 3, I called the other sister, so that was just 23k, 2 crit. Are you bringing Angela to next premium locals? Hopefully you do well. So I called both of the sisters. I pushed him to 5. Yeah, I pushed him to 5, and then he rolled Gurgit. He pushed me to 5. So we're both like, okay, 1 damage or like a heal or 2, and then like the game was over. So I knew he had 2 PGs. Oh wait, wrong match. Sorry. He pushed me to 5 because he played a Eagle in his deck that got like 5k for every card you called. It was like a 67, 68k Eagle, so I had to take it. And he used like all of his counterblast face down, so it was like 4 cards face down. So I knew, I'm like, okay, I can use the sisters to try to pressure to kill him, swing with Anj, and then I think I called Tirua because I know, like, if I had a crit, I could win here if he just PGs a Vanguard because he can't take any hits and he'll waste a lot more cards out of his hand. He had to no guard it because I think he might have had the cards to guard Tirua, but he just didn't have enough to guard Anj. And I think I put the force marker on Vanguard Circle, I think, to hit 33. So he no guarded it. I got a crit. At first I was tempted to just give it to all the Tirua because I didn't want him to like 6 damage heal and Tirua to be weaker. But then I remembered, well, I just give the crit to Anj and just power to Tirua. So I did that. I won the game from that. So after that, well, my infamous stream match, which I was featured. I wish I can see. Well, I will be able to see it later. I will go over it in the stream, like my plays and whatnot. But I remember the match pretty well. So I was against Gurgit again. I went second, I believe. No. I went first. So, I knew I needed to pressure him early game, but also like not to get OTK'd in 1 turn, which it happened anyway. Oh, I'm sorry for the frame drops. I did not know that. Okay, sorry about that. So, well, Gurgit, I believe I pushed him to like 2 damage, and then I rode Anj. I have Relenka. I had like a perfect board. I tapped with Relenka. He let it hit. The other column he guarded. I swung with Anj, caught a Relenka. I already had a setup ready. I hit a crit, and I knew that he was at 4 damage, I believe. No. I think he was at 3 damage when I swung. So I didn't want to give him 2 damage so he could guard the other column with Relenka. So I just gave it all to Relenka since she's swinging twice for game, or at least tossing a lot of cards out of his hand. He took the damage. It was nothing. He was at 2 damage, I remember. I think he was at 1 in the beginning. I forgot. But anyway, I swung with Relenka, use her skill to restand her, hits double heal, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna get pushed out next turn. Because I couldn't hit over his Vanguard. I mean, I could hit over, but it was so easy to guard at that point. Then he rode up. Oh, I was at 1 damage. I remember. I was at 1 damage. And then it was his turn. And then he says Gurgin time. He pushed me for 1 to 6 because I hit 1 defensive, but my hand was like 2 Tirua and a Relenka because I got it from her skill. And only had a couple cards, so I just died that turn, which was sad to me. I was close to winning, but he double healed. And yeah, I don't like. I really wish I could see what everyone was talking about in chat and stuff, but it's just sad to see that I went for 1 to 6. I'm like, I needed at least to hit 2 defensive or a heal, and none of them came. But he hit the double heal that got him out of that 1 situation. But it's okay. So yeah, but it would have had to waste a lot more cards than they did to just guard a Relenka. Because I would have hit twice with Relenka. But even so, I mean, I think they wouldn't have had that much resources to like kill me by that time, maybe, because they would have been at high damage. They would have had to toss more cards than they did. Maybe even like discard a combo piece. So, but it's all right. My next match, I believe. Let me see. I should have it. Oh, this was Gurgitsan's list. You would have done better if you ran a Shizuku starter. Listen, I have that for. But you get the dub best girl next time. Yeah, depending if V Premium doesn't change. You mean review. But this is Gurgitsan's list. He had the Eagle, which honestly I think more people should play the Eagle. Like on Vanguard Circle, you guard to get like who become 10k, guard again it'll be 15k. It just allows you to survive the early game.